All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how we can use derivatives to determine what the shape of a graph would be, specifically polynomials for this one. So using the first derivative. So if f prime is positive, then we say that f of x is increasing. So, and what that means is as we move left to right, our function is going up. Okay. The other thing it means is the slope of the tangent, slope of any line tangent to the graph, is positive. All of those things are telling us, right, the same thing. Likewise, if f prime is, negative, then we say f of x is decreasing. So again, as we move left to right, if it's decreasing, the graph is, it's not going down in a straight line necessarily, but the tendency, the y values are getting smaller as the x values get bigger. So for the function below, and I have the function written out and I have it graphed, let's find the intervals where f of x is increasing and decreasing, and then we're going to create a sign chart. I'll show you what the sign chart is. So to find where it's increasing and decreasing, we want to find the first derivative. So we're going to find f prime, step 1, f prime of x. So step 1, if f of x is x cubed minus 6x squared plus 9x minus 1, first derivative, it's a polynomial, so that's nice. We can just use our power rules. So the 3 will come down, 3x squared, minus the 2 comes down, 12x. Right, the derivative of 9x is just 9. Derivative of 1, or negative 1 is 0. So there's our first derivative. Next thing, right, in order to go from positive to negative, especially with a polynomial, right, it has to go through a 0. Intermediate value theorem. So now we'll find out where it's 0. So solve the equation f prime of x equals 0. We'll find our zeros. So let's go ahead and do that. 0 equals 3x squared minus 12x plus 9. I'm going to divide everybody by 3. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm setting myself up for something that's going to come later probably. I'm going to factor the 3 out. So 3 times x squared minus 4x plus 3. Right, 0 equals still. 0 equals, are you guys still factoring? 3, what do we get? X minus 3 times x minus 1. All right, so we can see that our zeros happen, right, at x equals 1 and x equals 3. So now I'm going to go ahead and do that sign chart. Let's do it right here. So I'm just going to draw a number line, and I'm going to mark these places where f prime equals 0, at 1 and at 3. Then, right, well, we have the picture so we can kind of see what's going to happen, but I'm going to show you how to build this sign chart. So, right, 1 and 3, this is where it equals 0. It can't go from being positive to negative without going through a 0. So, if I know what f prime of x is doing over here to the left of 1, then it's going to do that. It's going to either be increasing or decreasing for all of the x values, right, from negative infinity up until 1. Whatever it does, right, at one value over here, it does for all the values over there. So the way we do that, and this is why I left that 3 there. So f prime of x, if I just write it in its factored form, is 3 times x minus 3 times x minus 1, right? So pick one number, I call them test values, pick one number that's in this region to the left of 1. I'm going to take 0. If you say, gosh, I want it to take 7/9, awesome. You can turn that in, but I recommend you not do that, right? Pick something nice. So now, plugging in the 0, I get 3 times negative 3 times negative 1. I don't care what the value is. I just care if it's positive or negative, right? So I have a positive times a negative times a negative. That is a positive number, right? So this is positive, so it's increasing. The way I do it is I just draw a little arrow, the increasing arrow. You can write positive or increasing, right? Whatever is going to work for you. My sign charts are going to have little arrows on them. Okay. Now we're going to pick a number between 1 and 3. 2 seems like the obvious, easy choice. You'll notice I write my test values up above my number line, just because I don't want them to get confused with these points where it's 0. I just like to keep them separate. So then f prime at 2, let's see, this was f prime of 0. So f prime of 2, I'm going to get that 3 times 2 minus 3 times 2 minus 1. Okay, so I get a positive. 2 minus 3, that's a negative. 2 minus 1, that's a positive. So I have a positive times a negative times a positive. That results in a negative number, right? Again, I don't care the value. I just care if it's positive or negative because that tells me if it's increasing or decreasing. So negative means decreasing. And then finally, we'll check f prime at 3. So I have 3. No, sorry, you're right. Thank you for catching me. I need a number to the right of 3, yes. So 4, 5, 6, right, there are a bunch of nice numbers there. So it's f prime of 4. Thank you, whoever was hollering loudly at me. So 3 times 4 minus 3 times 4 minus 1. Again, we're just checking signs. So I have positive times positive times positive. That means that is positive. Okay. So we solved. Let's go back to our steps so you can follow these along next time. So find f prime of x, solve f prime of x equals to 0, make a number line, then we choose test values, and then we're going to check those test values in f prime of x. And all we want to know is positive or negative. Okay. So my function is increasing on what intervals? Okay. Increasing from negative infinity to 1. Remember, we're taking those 0 values. And then it increases again from 3 to infinity. Okay. And where is it decreasing? Between 1 and 3. And that totally makes sense on our graph, right? If we're walking from left to right, we're walking uphill from negative infinity until we get to 1 where we stop. And then we walk downhill, decreasing, until we get to x equals 3. And then we start walking back uphill again from 3 till infinity. So those points where f prime changes signs are called extrema. And extrema is just our fancy name for maximums. Yes, I know it's really maxima, but whatever. Maximums and minimums. So identify any extrema from my graph above or from the function above. Well, we can see on our graph that it happens, right? We have a max at x equals 1 and a min at x equals 3. One thing, so if you didn't have the graph and you didn't have a calculator, you could tell if it was a max or a min by looking at the sign charts. So it's increasing, so we're going uphill until we get to 1, and then we start going downhill. So if you just do a quick little sketch of that, it shows you that there at 1, that was a maximum. It's the top of a hill, right? Across the 3, it starts, we're going down, and then we hit to the 3, and then we start increasing again, right? That would show us that minimum. All right, so functions can have either local extrema or absolute extrema. And it's kind of like rectangles and squares. Sometimes some can be both, but not necessarily the other way. So if we look at this function, what kind of extrema are we going to have? Is there one number that's the absolute highest that this function ever gets to? The answer is no, right? Because it continues on. So I'll have an infinitely high number or an infinitely low number, right? So I don't have any absolute. So no absolutes. But I have a highest point in the area, right? That's kind of the non-technical term, right? So we have a local max at x equals 1, and we have a local min at x equals 3. So it's the lowest point in the area, but it's not the lowest point overall for our function. Okay, so that's what the first derivative can tell us. The second derivative, right, so to get the second derivative, we just take the derivative of the first derivative, remember? So if f double prime is positive, then we say f of x is concave up. So the second derivative tells us about concavity. Concave up, right, it's the smiley face. It means it's holding water. If f double prime is negative, good. We say the function is concave. I know, you guys know. Down, very good. So dumping water. All right, so for that same function, let's go ahead and determine the intervals where our function is concave up, concave down, and we're going to create that second derivative sign chart. So I'll just grab our f prime of x from the other page. Let's see, before we factored it, it was 3x squared minus 12x plus 9. So find our second derivative. So steps, find f double prime. Second step's going to be the same, set or solve f double prime equals 0. So first let's find f double prime. Let's see, 2 comes down, so that'll be 6x minus 12, right? Constant or a linear term, you just get the coefficient. Derivative of 9, 0. Then we solve, setting our second derivative equal to 0, because again, right, we're interested in the sign. It's a positive or negative. It can't change unless it goes through a 0, so finding where it could possibly change is our first step. So I don't know if you guys solved that visually, but x equals 2. Then sign chart, so number line. And now we're checking our second derivative. So we need to find test points, test values. So to the left or to the right of 2. So I'll take 0 to be my to the left and 3. It really doesn't matter. You can pick any number as long as it's, right, you have one that's to the left and one that's to the right. So then we're just checking f double prime up here. I'm going to go ahead and write it factored, just because, again, it just makes it a little bit nicer to plug in. So checking f double prime of 0. I'll get 6 times negative 12. We see that that's negative. I don't care that it's negative 72. I just care about the negative. So at 0, it's concave down. So you can either write like negative. I actually do the picture, I write a visual, so I'll do the little frowny face for what's happening there. And then we'll check f double prime of 3. So that'll be oh, thank you so much. You guys should have hollered louder. 6 minus 2. When I factored, but I didn't really factor, did I? Factored out of 6. Let's just make sure that's still correct for my 0. 6 minus 2. I'm sorry, 6 times negative 2. I can get there. Thank you. 6 times negative 2 is still negative. Okay, good. How did I know something was going wrong? What happened? right, it didn't change concavity. I was getting another negative number, and it's like, I'm pretty sure it changes signs. So kind of be on the lookout for that. If something's not feeling right, it's like, gosh, why didn't it change signs like it did before? Right, go back and check your arithmetic or your algebra. That's what happened to me right there. Thank you. If anybody was hollering, sorry I didn't hear you. So checking f double prime of 3 again. So 6 times 3 minus 2, that's a 1. Again, all I really care about is that it's positive. So over here, right, from 2 on, for that whole time, it's going to be concave up. So then we write, evaluate step 5, evaluate f double prime at those test values. And we just want to know if it's positive or negative. And there is our sign chart. So where is it concave up? So concave up from 2 to infinity. Okay. Everything from your 0 on, because it can't go back, it can't change, because if it changed concavity, it would have to go through 0, intermediate value theorem, and I don't have any more zeros. I find the only place where the second derivative was 0. And then it's concave down on the other, right, the other half, from negative infinity to 2. So those points where f double prime changes signs, those are called inflection points. Okay, inflection points, good vocabulary word. So does our function have any inflection points? Sure, right? We change signs at x equals 2. F double prime of x changes signs. And now let's just take a look at our graph and make sure that that all makes sense. So find where x equals 2 right here. Right, from negative infinity to 2, right, my function is, right, losing water. And then from 2 on to infinity, right, it's holding the water. And one of the things, right, that's happening here, right, at 2 is, right, your function is decreasing until you get to 2, right, and then it starts decreasing less. So it's still decreasing, but the values are smaller until we get to it's decreasing, right, until it stops decreasing at 0. So also, right, we're increasing. So back to our first derivative, right, slopes of our tangent, right, is positive, but the tangent lines are steeper the further away you are from that extrema. So as we're getting closer, right, my tangent lines are flattening out more and more until they get to be 0 when we get to our extrema.